And welcome to the Old Man Wade Show. I am your host, the God of Stubborn, the Lord of Laughter, Old Man Wade, and I'm sitting here with my lovely life.
Hey.
With her normal enthusiasm as always. How you doing?
Stupendous. I just got a new pack, so it's making my life come true. Thank you, Super Woke.
I really wish I could get that excited about stuff like that.
What?
I get excited
about weed paraphernalia.
Yeah, I just can't. Like it's
If you were a smoker, you'd understand.
I'm pretty sure I would. It's like ooh, new beer. And it's funny as you say that I realize I have like one beer left in the refrigerator and I want to go grab it. I'm so tempted to. And I'm back and I went and got my beer and now I'm super happy and I'm gonna go crack this beer open because it's my last one until I have a day off on Saturday. But yeah, but I don't know, but it's funny about that is because you always say to me how like you wish you could get as excited about like comic book stuff. I'm like, oh, new comic book come out, you know what I mean? Mm. Or like art and stuff like that. But I guess you do get excited about things like the artwork we have on the wall, which is stupendous. Like I love the black woman theme with the big natural hair and you know.
I have an idea on 3 frames that are gonna go between that one, but I haven't done it yet because
I can't wait. I think it's going to look phenomenal. So, but anyway, let's get to the topics at hand. Valkyrie. Do you think Batman eats pussy?
I mean, he looks like he pays somebody to eat pussy for him. He's like Alfred.
Alfred eat this pussy?
Yeah. Like a double. As a stunt double, just was eating.
Oral sex stunt double?
Batman doesn't look like he wants to be touched in general. Like, he just looks like he'd be like, don't touch me. Like, he's angry. And he's like, fuck no. I'm not eating your box.
So, okay. So, I would agree with you if it wasn't for the fact that he was dating and engaged to Catwoman for so long. And Catwoman has options. So, I really do...
Is it like eating pussy as in, like, kissing her on the mouth because she's pussy? No, okay.
This is why you don't smoke, kids.
I haven't even done anything to make her stupid yet.
So, you enjoy Harley Quinn as much as I do the TV show, right?
Yes.
Well, here was a funny story for you. Apparently, DC Comics had a scene taken out where Batman goes down on Catwoman. When the creators asked why, they said superheroes don't do things like that.
Who said that?
DC Comics, the representative who was like, had to go.
They said that to the creator.
Yeah, of Harley Quinn, who were putting a scene in where Batman goes down on Catwoman, and they said superheroes don't. They said heroes don't do that.
So like heroes don't do that, but villains do. Like,
and so
is it like that, bro? That must be a lonely ass housewife sitting at whoever made that decision's house.
So
It's definitely some old white dude.
So one of the creators go. Oh, so actually, I'll read it. So, co-creator of Harley Quinn, Justin Halpern, revealed that DC asked them to remove one specific scene. He commented, "In the 3rd season of Harley, when we had a moment where Batman was going down on Catwoman, and DC was like, you can't do that. Absolutely cannot do that. They're like, heroes don't do that." So we said, "Are you saying that heroes are selfish lovers?" They were like, "No. It's that we can't sell consumer toys for heroes. It's hard to sell a toy if Batman's going down on someone."
But, like, your child shouldn't be watching Harley Quinn anyway because the whole show is fucked up. Like, I don't understand. It's not rated PG.
Yeah, at all. It's like kids should not be. There are some adults who shouldn't be watching this.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't get that at all, and I'm glad that the creators called him out on that. Like, so you're saying heroes don't do that and they're selfish lovers? No, we just need to sell toys. And furthermore, if you sold provocative or seductive or suggestive figures of Batman and Catwoman, those shits are going to fly off the shelves. Let's call it like this. I'm not a horny fucking dude who lives in his mother's basement. I'd probably buy one of those just because it would be funny, and you would probably display it in here.
Probably.
It's fucking ridiculous. I don't understand that. It was silly as hell to me. But it led me to a more important question. So I pulled up a list of comic book characters. And I'm going to ask you whether or not you think they do or do not go down.
Okay.
Superman.
Definitely doesn't go down.
Batman.
Like I said, I don't think he wants anybody to actually touch him. In general.
You'd be shocked. He's a ladies' man. That's the point.
Yeah, but like that's part of the persona. Just like he drinks ginger ale and pretends it's alcohol. You can't fake being like you can fake being like social, but I don't think he actually is.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
That's why he enjoys being the Bat. Like he enjoys being like by himself.
Peter Parker.
Definitely does.
Yeah. He does it like hanging on the wall and while holding her upside down.
Possibly.
Wonder Woman.
Definitely.
Bruce Banner.
Definitely.
Tony Stark. Definitely.
Definitely.
Wolverine. Wolverine eats ass and vagina. He goes back and forth. T'Challa probably eats pussy better than anybody on the planet.
Maybe.
The only person who may do better is Okoye.
If she eats pussy.
She definitely eats pussy. Jean Grey. She going down on a dude? I kind of feel like she makes you think that she did.
Yeah, like she like tricks you.
Yeah. Deadpool?
Definitely.
He goes down on dudes too. Joker? No, absolutely not.
He's selfish.
Yeah. Doctor Strange?
No. That one's a hard one because he was a surgeon and they're arrogant and fucking narcissistic. So
I would agree with
you.
But
he, when he becomes like
Doctor
whatever,
Strange,
he starts to be
Supreme.
More. He probably has something that does it for him though. Like there's some kind of
like a spell.
Or, like yeah, he doesn't actually physically have to do it himself.
By the Torah tongue of tornadoes, or some shit like that. I'll ask you a few more. Human Torch.
Yeah.
But Daredevil.
I mean, I would hope so. Like,
because he can't see anything.
Yeah.
Hawkeye.
Like, what would that be like, though? Does he have to feel around?
It's like Braille.
Braille, yeah.
The clips of Braille.
Okay.
Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Reed Richards definitely eats pussy. And last but not least, Thanos.
No.
You don't think Thanos eats pussy? I think Thanos is a...
No, because again, he fucking hates everybody.
He doesn't hate everybody. Okay, he hates everybody.
He fucking hates everybody.
He loves death. Like the entity, the woman death, he loves her. Like he literally... One of my favorite things was he stole a bouquet of comets to give to her, and each comet was responsible for the destruction of a planet. I think Thanos is a romantic.
So that means he eats pussy?
Yeah. You can't be romantic and not eat pussy. What's wrong with you?
I mean, some people are scared of it.
How? Why?
I don't want to eat anybody's pussy. It's gross.
So, I don't know if you...
For me, I mean, it's probably not... I'm not saying it's not gross for other people.
I don't know if you were on this episode or not, but there was a woman who blew all the Phoenix Suns players. And everyone was talking about how disgusting that was. And I said, Doug. And I laughed. I was like, look, every man who's saying that this is disgusting, I was like, look, I would eat a whole team of WNBA players if they were fine. Like, so let's cut the nonsense with like the majority. It's just funny, the double standard. Like, that bitch is a hoe. You'd eat all of them right now. Shut the fuck up. But that's just my thinking. That's my way. You know what's funny? I don't think Wanda Maximoff has ever given a blowjob.
No.
Like, do her and Vision even have sex?
I mean...
Like, is he anatomically correct?
I know. I imagine he's like a Ken doll. It's just like nothing.
So are they like trebbing?
They're scissoring Xerxes.
Trebbing. I think that's what the actual term is called. I don't fucking know. Regardless, I think it's stupid. It's not that serious. Just let comic book characters do their thing. Harley Quinn is an adult show, and we can move on from there. Rapper Safaree has a new beef with his ex-wife or ex-baby mama. I don't want to miss our birth. Safaree got more of the bones to pick with Erica Mena as they fight over child custody in their divorce. He wants to be present in their new baby's. He wants to be present when their new baby's born, and he's running into court, or in the court, hoping to make it happen.
So if any fucking court allows that man into that fucking birthing room, like, fuck you.
Yeah.
No. So you don't have a right over what happens to woman's body in general. The baby, you will see it once it's born. You can see it once it comes out. But if the woman who is giving birth, which is something that a lot of people don't understand until they have children or like experience like childbirth, like it's a traumatic event. Like it's traumatic. Your bones have, there's bones that have to move out of place. It's painful. Your muscles are spasming. Everything fucking hurts. Like it's stressful. It's something that like you have to push your way through to do. Like you need encouragement in a birthing room. You can't have a negative entity there. Like, can you? Yes. But if you have the choice, you're not going to. You shouldn't. I mean, you do have a fucking choice. And I also don't think, like, a court could order for someone to be in there because in the hospital, a patient has the right to tell someone they have to leave a room. Mm-hmm. If your wife goes into labor tomorrow and she found out you cheated on her, she can literally say, I do not want my husband in this room right now.
Let me just say this just from a man's perspective. I agree with everything you're saying 1,000%. And not even just because of like women's rights and all that. Let's just talk about the danger that could come with a woman being pregnant, giving birth, on top of everything else that has to go right almost perfectly for this child to come out alive and for the woman to stay alive during childbirth. Any unneeded stress seems dangerous to me.
No, it is. It's not, and it's her body. Like you have the right to autonomy over your own body. Like it's your body. That is your. Do you want me to go watch while you get your fucking prostate exam? Like, do you want me to go watch while you get your vasectomy? Like, it's personal. It's private. It's intimate. It's not meant for you. Like, and you just, I just don't know how somebody thinks they have the right to force somebody to watch them give birth. Like,
it's selfishness.
You're literally exposed. And, like, people make arguments about, they were together, like, blah, 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 he's already seen it, and da-da.
It's nothing to do
Doesn't
with
matter. Like, if you are not with somebody, you don't necessarily, even if they've seen you naked before, feel comfortable with them seeing you naked after the fact. Especially if you're fighting, especially if you're not on civil terms, which it sounds like to me is the case. I don't know the whole story, but no. You have no fucking right, dude.
No. And I think that's
none.
I think that's one of the problems I think people have when you have privilege, and this is a situation where he does have male privilege. You know what I mean? Like, he's a black man who still lacks privilege in a white man's world. But in this situation, he's more privileged than his ex-wife is, or his wife is. So in this situation, he doesn't understand why he can't just do this. And not really, and maybe he's changed his mind since this conversation happened.
Well, what I'm hoping is that like women clapped back at him and was like, "Bro, this is why." If that was my friend and I was a female, and my friend said to me, "I belong in there," I would literally tell my guy friend, "No, you don't." I would tell him the exact same thing. I'd be like, "No."
Do you remember what we were talking about yesterday about male accountability? Yeah. This is a situation where his male friend should go, "Bro, shut the fuck up."
Yeah, but a lot of men think that they have the right. Like, it's their right. It's their child. Okay, it's her body. Your child is not out yet. It's coming out. Yeah, then you can go to court and have all the rights that the court wants to give you. But you don't have a right to what happens with that woman's body and being in a room while something she's going through is going on.
Now, it's funny. They were talking about this on Joe Budden's podcast, and I was waiting for Joe to say something stupid like...
I was too. I was like, I'm going to fight him. I'm going to fight him.
But he told him, he was like, "You're fucking wrong." He goes, and I was like, oh, okay. He goes, "They'll bring the baby out by the vending machine when it's over."
But yeah, like, here's your turn. Like, and he made a valid point on there too. Like, when they take the baby out too, it doesn't go to the father. It literally, they check it real quick, make sure everything's good, and it goes right on the mother's like chest immediately. Skin to skin happens.
The first person they recognize to get that bond.
It's a bonding thing. It's also to help the baby acclimate to the outside world, helps their blood circulation start, because you have to remember a baby's blood circulation isn't started until like they're born. That's when it kicks in. Until then, you're the mother, the umbilical cord's cycling all the blood through their body. So they need that minute for everything to kind of, like, there's valves that have to close and stuff. Sorry, I'll shut up. But anyway,
no. I think this is informative. I think these are things that people need to know.
There's a lot that has to happen. So it immediately goes on the mother's chest because research has shown that babies do better, mothers do better as well. Like, after a baby's born, a placenta is born. The placenta has to be birthed just like the baby was. So she then again has to push. She then again has to do whatever. But it's shown that it has helped mothers too with contracting after the fact to birth the placenta and to stop bleeding. Because if you don't contract down after birth, that's how women bleed out. Like, it's because their uterus can't, like, close and they literally lose all their blood. They die. But, so it's, I don't know, it's important. You're gonna see your child, you're gonna get to hold your child, you're gonna get to whatever, but you don't, again, it's not something that you have the right to do while she's going through a traumatic experience.
I agree.
Because it's trauma. Everybody thinks birth is easy. It is trauma.
What idiot thinks childbirth is easy?
Because women have babies all the time, right? That's why it's expected. One of the reasons I do not want children, honestly, is because I don't want that shit. I don't want to grow a human that literally possesses my body, takes all that shit over, makes me uncomfortable, so I can't eat what I want, I can't do what I want, I can't drink, miserable, like, whatever. Not always. I'm not saying, like, every woman is miserable. I'm just saying, like, you know, you vomit, you do whatever. Like, just
was happy as hell. Like, when
no, I don't mean it that way. People, like, I've had friends, like, they're glowing while they're pregnant, but at some points it's uncomfortable. Like, your back hurts, you're carrying a lot of extra weight, your skin is stretching, your feet sometimes swell, you have complications, or, like, whatever. You're exhausted because you're literally carrying around a bunch of extra weight.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't mean. I don't mean it that way. I just mean, like, the thought of that trauma, of going through that traumatic event for me is like, nope. I give women a lot of courage, like, a lot of credit for that. Like, that's a lot of courage. And, like, people who have multiple children, like, I don't know how you go back and do it again.
Jim Gaffigan talks about this. Tom Segura talks about this when they say all they had to do was, you know, something that they think about every day of their life, and then. Yeah. He goes, we're just kind of just there.
The first time I ever saw a baby born, I was 15 years old, and that literally probably is what sealed it for me.
I mean, it works for me. I'm cool.
Like, I was like, I had no idea what was going to happen. I was like, holy shit.
Was that before or after they shit themselves? So, while we're on the subject of women equality and things like that, we discussed this off and on for about a week now. Because Triple H said some fuck shit. With recent news that Mickie James, a former wrestler, is producing an all-women's pay-per-view for NWA, there's talk of NWA reaching out to wrestlers who are under contract with other promotions to possibly take part in that event.
What is the name of
it? NWA.
Like NWA?
It was actually NWA before NWA. So.
I was supposed to be like, what?
The news is also taking pro wrestling fans once again thinking about when or if we'll see WWE hold a sequel to their Women's Evolution event in 2018. On a media call ahead of this weekend's NXT TakeOver in Your House, Triple H was asked about doing another all-women's pay-per-view, and if possible, that any WWE wrestlers might appear on NWA's event. The Game, who's Triple H, offered a yikes answer about equality before saying that another all-women event is not needed in the WWE right now. Here is his quote. I was actually waiting to say this quote to you on air. Haven't we already done them? It's a funny thing to me. So equality is equality. Equality is not I want my own show. Equality is not we have to have our own program. If I told you that I was making an all men's program and I didn't want women on it, it would be criticized. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I do think it's funny when people go, I want the best in the world regardless of contractual status. I'm sorry, from a business person's standpoint, then why do we have contractual status, right? It doesn't make any sense to me. If you want to wrestle the best women in the world, come to the WWE, until they fire you. That's where they are. If you want to go somewhere else and say they are, you can. but it is what it is. Also, the best women wrestlers aren't in the WWE. He goes on to say, "I'm all for it. I was one of the biggest drivers of it, and we will do another all women's pay per view down the line, possibly, but it's not a must have in the moment. I think we do an amazing job of displaying our female athletes. Is it perfect? No. Will it always be in flux? Yes. But I think we do a pretty good job. In my opinion, the best female performers in the world are in the WWE, and if they're not, they want to be." So now that you've heard the entire quote, and the quote in its entirety, what are your thoughts?
He's a trash human.
He sounds like his father-in-law.
I was gonna say that family's all the same. The reason why they're saying this is because, probably fuck boy 45 and they're trying to like stay on that, like, we're not pandering to women and what they want or blah 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 bullshit, right? Because like they have to perceive that fucking ridiculous macho like bravado bullshit of why they can't say things anymore because blah, 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 I just feel like they're the reason why he said not at this time now is because they're, again, trying to be, like, against anything that's, like, I don't know, positive, uplifting, empathetic, or, like, promoting, like, a marginalized group, which is women in this case. Women and any person of color that isn't white passing. No, I'm saying no. With an all women's event, though, this is like primarily to showcase the women, because, as he said, if you want to be equal, then why are you complaining? Just be in all the shows and blah blah blah. Like, women want their own thing because they didn't have their own thing for a very long time. It wasn't even until recently, like, in the last, 10 years, or less, that they started, doing women championships and letting them do, Well, there was a good point in time where there was a lot of, women's wrestling. Like, Alundra Blaze was one of the trailblazers with women, and she was a bad motherfucker, in the 80s and 90s. We had Miss Jackie, who was a black woman who was body slamming dudes in WCW. There were maybe one or two in ECW. There were some in the WWE, but there was this long, between 10 and 20 year time period where it just seemed like it was all pillow fights and mud wrestling and gravy matches. Yeah. And we can attribute a lot of this, if not all of this, to the NXT Women's Revolution with Sasha Banks, Bayley, Charlotte, and Becky. Mm-hmm. Those four women, and granted, they're all attractive women, but they were wrestlers. And the funny thing about it was, they were actually Triple H's valets during one of the WrestleManias. Mm-hmm. And then they end up being four of the best women wrestlers, or four of the best wrestlers in the industry. Because honestly, Charlotte could out wrestle, I would say, 90% of the men on the roster. Mm-hmm. But I wish I could talk to Diddy about this, but now you have it seems like, and I've seen wrestling Twitter, which is one of the most toxic things ever. But a lot of women wrestling fans have been complaining about how it seems to be going back to that old, yeah, it's like taking a step back. Yeah, you know what I mean. But I feel like that's it being done purposely right now because of the climate that we're in and the owner of this company. Yeah. Just like Triple H said, the climate that we're in, he's talking about, people standing up for shit and not letting white men just do things because they want to. And they're just and World Wrestling Entertainment is just like any other big corporation. Yeah, they want to keep their money in their not even, well, that too. They'll I can't, Sonya Deville is an out and proud gay woman in the WWE. Mm-hmm. They'll promote that when it helps them, but you know what I mean. But let's see what happens, when it's not as popular. You know what I mean. You have there are a lot of straight wrestlers who will still promote it. One of my guys, Finn Balor. I'm not sure if he's bi or gay or whatever, but he's always been
Like he came down to WrestleMania one day. He had an LGBT flag in his in the back of his vest. He did one pay-per-view when he had a bunch of kids out there with the pride flags and stuff like that. So there are wrestlers out there who definitely use their platform to be like, hey, we support this and we support that. But the WWE is just another billion-dollar corporation that's gonna like pander for money. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If I see them say some Juneteenth shit on
they will not. I doubt it.
You know what I mean? It's shit like, well, shit, Shaw's did it. That one lonely fucking balloon.
Right? Like, they didn't even put it with the other balloons. It was by itself. It was segregated. It was segregated from all the other balloons, like, halfway across the store.
They segregated the balloons. That is great. I should have took a picture. I really wish I would have taken a picture.
I know, we should have, because it could have been the thing for this. But, yeah, no, that one sad little balloon.
Oh, man. Staying on the WWE thing, a former wrestler went on to say, because there was a bunch of firings a few weeks ago, WWE released a bunch of people.
For why?
Just
Are they poor?
So Diddy has a theory that they're making Black Rabbit, blackrabbit.com. He says that he's been saying this for a year or two now, that the WWE is trying to sell their company. And one way to do that is to release people, free up space, free up money, and things like that. So that was one of his things. So a lot of people were released, and
I wonder who they would even sell it to.
Lavelle thinks NBC. No, Lavelle thinks
to like a whole.
No, like I think he said Disney. I think he said Disney's the one to go to, but like ESPN or is owned by Disney. ESPN's
yeah, but will Disney do it because it's fighting? Like it promotes violence? I doubt it.
I mean, they have the whole Marvels and Star Wars catalog.
Yeah, but like I don't know. But I guess so.
So, this wrestler, his name is Carl Anderson, on Wrestling, thanking WWE after being released. He goes, "We know what it's like to get canned from WWE. Here's the advice I would say. Enough of the thank you tweets. Give me a fucking break. When you get canned, let it go. How about hashtag fuck off? I don't think less than 24 hours after being fired. Take a second to take a breather. Take it easy with the thank you bullshit within 24 hours. Breathe it in and take it all in for just 1 second. Put together a plan of attack before you start thanking all these motherfuckers that fired you." I agree and disagree. I agree that, like, if it's disingenuous... Actually, no, I disagree completely, because you don't burn bridges like that, because you never know when you're going to need something like that. Now, if you were treated unfairly, like sexually, like harassed, or like, just treated like a piece of shit, then yeah, fuck that. Don't say thank you. Like, you know what I mean? Be glad you're out of there, and especially if you wanted your release. But if this is a company that you enjoyed and you want to go back, I see nothing wrong with saying, hey, thank you for the time. Blah, blah, blah.
I get what he's saying, though. He's like, they fired you. Stop licking their asshole. Like, I get it.
I get it, but again, like, he completely...
Because you only have so many outlets for wrestling, like, to be professional.
Yeah, like...
And most of it's owned by, like...
Well, no, there are actually a lot of independent and a lot of other wrestling organizations that you can go to.
Like, is it kind of like one of those things, like, you'll get blackballed or, like, burn bridges, like, can...
There's been a lot of people who will talk bad about the WWE, and then you'll see them again in a year. You know what I mean? Mm. So, like, there is no real burning bridges, but, like, at some point, if you're just going to be a dick about it, they're just going to be like, you know what do we need you for? If you're going to be an asshole about a bunch of stuff, you know what I mean? So, I don't think it's smart to burn a bridge, but if you have no plans of going back ever, then, fuck them.
Fair.
You know what I mean? Before we go, there's a couple things I want to do. I want to read something that actually, again, another WWE person, said, "I often get tagged in tweets making fun or mocking the fact that I, at times, mention my biracial background. I also see your comments about others who are also biracial or becoming biracial parents. If you did not grow up as a biracial person or as a biracial parent, keep your comments to yourself. You have no idea what it's like, and if we want to talk about it or bring awareness to it, it's not your right to mock it. I, like many others, spent years being bullied and feeling like I didn't belong. Especially being raised in the South, it was difficult being accepted by either side. Some parents of the white boys I liked made threats to me if they even brought me home. One boy in particular had his parents tell him that he would have a nose hanging from their family tree if he dared to bring me home. I got called a mutt, a mixed breed, The black kids would also make fun of me for not being black enough, or having black hair, or being too light skinned. I spent so many afternoons after school crying, hating myself, asking why I was so different to the point where no one wanted to be my friend. I know this is the same story shared by biracial children everywhere. So again, for those of you who continue to mock those of us who at times like to mention our biracial background or bring light to what we now know as accepted, light to it now that we've accepted it and developed pride for it, kindly shut the fuck up. Yeah.
It's true though, like that's a true sentiment, like everything he said. Like you don't, I mean, I don't know how old he is, but
no, it's a woman, Kayla Braxton.
Oh, sorry. I've had some of the same experience, like, so I get what she is saying.
Kayla Braxton is 30.
Yeah. Oh, she's younger too.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope that, like, as generations have gotten, like, older and older, I feel like it's happening less and less. And, like, I feel like people are starting to be more all-inclusive and be, like, open to other things and be, like... But it really depends, though, where you live and who you're surrounded by and how old-fashioned, like, the fucking area is or, like, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like it gets better and better.
But I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that
there's more mixed kids.
There's more mixed kids, and there's also a lot of people who are talking about that, and a lot of people feel that it's all like sunshine and giggles because you have like Halle Berry and Derek Jeter who are biracial, famous, and looked at some of the most beautiful people in the world, but they also don't know what they probably went through as kids who like.
Oh God, yeah, I can imagine
I
because they're older. No, Derek Jeter's, I think, younger than... he's younger.
Derek Jeter's older than us.
Is he?
I believe so.
But I can't imagine, like, Halle Berry probably went through some shit, but... I mean... Yeah, no.
Yeah, damn, he's 46. So like, it's shit like that, but thankfully we have people like you who will speak up on situations like that, and shout out to Charmaine, with her Militantly Mixed podcast, who brings on mixed people and talks about the experience. And it's not just a black and white thing. There's like, you can be mixed with anything. Like, and like people don't really...
And there's a lot that goes into it that people don't understand. And there's a lot of like... It used to be a fetish.
It still is.
For some white people to have mixed children because they think that they're going to be beautiful, like Halle Berry. You know what I mean? Like, so you're fetishized too, like sometimes in some instances, in some cases, or like always being mistaken for something that I'm always mistaken for being Spanish, and I am not even like 1/10. Like I have no Spanish in me whatsoever, which is even harder because I have two mixed brothers who are like Puerto Rican. Yeah. So people are like, but like, wait, I'm like, no, separate dads, completely different. Same way, white ass mother, separate fathers.
You know what I mean? You get like, we'll use Charmaine again as an example. Black and Asian.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Or you have Super Woke, who's Haitian and Honduran. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? And then you have, in his case, like we had people, but he had people around him who were telling him he's not black enough because his people didn't experience slavery. And I'm like, do you niggas read? Like,
I know that like there were other places besides America that slavery happened.
Or the fact that that Haiti was I think the first successful slave revolution when they were just like kick rocks, get the fuck out of our country.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's shit like that it's really befuddling, and like and people think that because. No, you know what? This is something we talked about last week when we went to breakfast. How people think that because you have a biracial child or you're married or dating someone outside of your race, that means you're not racist. No, I'm sorry. It doesn't mean that. It's literally, as you said, it can be a fetish to some people.
Oh, no, I definitely know that. There are white parents that I know that are racist as fuck.
Yeah, to their biracial kids or to their biracial grandkids.
Not even, like, just... They say nasty fucking shit openly about...
No, but I'm saying, like... I'm talking about people who have biracial children. Yeah. Or have, like...
Yeah.
And they...
Okay, so, for instance, during the whole Black Lives Matter movement, in the height of it, in the middle of it...
Yeah.
like literally like denouncing it and talking shit while they have a black child at home.
Oh, okay.
And not understanding that their child is still very susceptible and like at risk just as much. But think that, no, they don't deal with that because they have no idea. They probably have no fucking idea what their kids deal with. Their kids probably don't even know that what's happening sometimes. Like, but when they get older, they will. It just makes, I know several white women who have mixed children. Sons. Like, black sons.
And just, and if any of y'all are listening right now, just think about the damage you're doing to your child.
To your child, yeah. Mm-hmm. You're like denouncing and saying it's not true. His history, his life, his things that can happen to him. You know, he's not getting the talk like that he should get because he need to because that's how you fucking survive.
Yeah, like the idea that this kid is gonna grow up with like a ton of insecurities, not thinking they're good enough, and like the one place you should be safe should be at home. You shouldn't have to go home and be called a nigger. You shouldn't be going home and be called a half-breed or whatever the fuck else. Like, you know what I mean? These aren't the things you should be going home to.
Well, it doesn't, I'm not saying they're not blatantly racist towards their children. They're just ignorant to the fact that shit happened.
Well, I'm speaking in extreme, but to your case, but to your point, like, yeah, like you should be able to go home and your parents should be able to like hug you and tell you that you like, you know, the stuff that's going on is okay. You shouldn't go home and feel uncomfortable. Because like you feel like, you know what I mean, because you want to say Black Lives Matter and your parents shouldn't be denouncing it when it's something that you're proud of or something that you want to support. You know what I mean? So it's just it's nasty, it's disgusting. You would hope that. Go ahead.
I think about it a lot with that Rachel Dolezal girl. Like, what are her kids experiencing because of the shit that she did?
Yeah.
Like pretending to be black, pretending to be whatever. Like, how fucked up is it for her children to like deal with that? Like every black American like hating her or like what it's crazy.
All right. This has been the Old Man Wade Show. I want to thank my lovely life Valkyrie for doing this. Oh, before we go, I wish the audience could see your face when I say this. You know Rob Zombie does movies and stuff like that?
Yes.
He's producing The Munsters.
Oh, awesome. I bet
you like that? With Rob Zombie doing it?
Good.
Ew.
I bet you it'll be good. Why ew?
Rob Zombie's never done a good movie.
I mean, I didn't mind like House of a Thousand Corpses and stuff. Have you ever watched any of them?
Yes, I get 30 minutes in. I'm like, this is ass.
I don't know. They were like entertaining for the time.
No, they weren't.
I don't know. I want to see what he has to offer before you complain about it.
And complain I will, even though I like Spiral. Thank you for listening to the Old Man Wade portion of this. And now, here's Miss Telekinesis, Talar.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. Thank you, Old Man Wade. My name is Talar. We're going to jump right into it tonight. We've got a few topics on the slate, but I'm going to start off with LeBron's first-round exit from the NBA playoffs. This has not happened before. There's a first time for everything. I love saying that because it's always true. And you know, as a Celtics fan, it's kind of funny to me. It's refreshing because it's a double whammy. It's LeBron and the Lakers gone in the first round, which is satisfying to me because my own team also got bounced in the first round. Listen, all jokes aside, it happens. It happened to Michael Jordan. It happened to everybody else. It happened. Every great player endures this, right? Just because you go out in the first round doesn't make you any lesser. It doesn't mean anything. The NBA is star driven, but you can only get so far without a supporting cast, you know, especially these days when teams have 2 or 3 all-stars, not just the one. Anthony Davis being hurt, the Lakers not really producing at the level that they were last year. Kuzma just being a train wreck in that final game. Just terrible, you know, all around. They have some work to do. They have some roster moves they have to make. LeBron's getting older. Anthony Davis did unfortunately have that injury at the wrong time of year for them. And it's just a matter of health and consistency, and it's a matter of, I think it's roster construction. I think they need more depth. I think that their defense needs to be better. I do think they need an actual point guard in that slot, although LeBron does that point forward role very well. I think they need an upgrade over Schroeder. And Caruso. As much as, shout out to my girl, Karin. That's her favorite Laker is Alex Caruso, and he's great. I think he's fun to watch. And he's like that little underdog you root for. But they need like an actual point guard. They need a floor general who's kind of running things and can take the ball out of LeBron's hands. And kind of set everything up so it doesn't have to be LeBron every time. LeBron should be a luxury to have, not like your actual point guard, It's going to be interesting to see what the Lakers do this offseason. I'm coming at you after the day of, Chris Paul getting COVID and being out for God knows how long, indefinitely, according to Woj and Shams. I come to you after Kawhi Leonard's knee injury that the Clippers fear might be like an ACL thing, and he's got like a sprained knee now. With Luka Doncic being, after those few reports of him being unhappy, the Dallas Mavericks GM has parted ways, with Scotty Brooks parting ways with the Washington Wizards, with someone... A nutrition company, if I'm correct, on I-90 across from Celtics practice facility, putting up a billboard saying, "Hey Brad, hire Becky or Kara, it's time," or whatever the billboard said. And it is just a lot of fun. We've missed it. We had a hell of a year, 2020. It was really difficult, and I think sports took, I know my personal love for sports took a hit because it just didn't feel as important as everything else happening, and I think a lot of people felt like that. But now it feels kind of more normal. It feels kind of back to where it should be, and it's exciting. And as far as Stan Van Gundy being out as Pelicans coach, that's a big one, right? He was I think they really had high hopes for him, but it just wasn't working. It's gonna be very interesting. I think you're gonna see, Don Staley is from South Carolina is interviewing for the Blazers role. Becky Hammon is rumored in multiple roles. I've done a podcast about how much I'm just begging the Celtics to hire Becky Hammon because I just think it fits so well. But Kara Lawson as well. She's phenomenal. I've met her. She's awesome. She's so nice. And that would make a lot of sense for the Celtics as well. And she's been on Brad's staff. She knows the Jays. She's smart. She knows what she's doing. She does have unfinished business, I feel, at Duke. I've said this before. She just kind of got that job, Duke women's head basketball coach. But, if the Celtics come knocking, what are you going to say? No? You can't really. I mean, that's a golden opportunity. So we'll see what happens in the NBA. I think there's a lot to dig into. I mean, with that being said, I do want to get into the CP3 thing. And the CP3 versus LeBron thing. I don't know full details about Chris Paul. I'm not entirely sure if he's vaccinated or not. I don't know if anyone is privy to that information other than the league and himself. And it is a private matter. It is up to him if he wishes to share that, of course. But, we all know the incident with LeBron and how the league was like, oh, well, he didn't break any COVID protocol, so, he's going to be in, like, it doesn't matter. And then, we don't know what Chris Paul did. I think he went to a party or something after they won in the second round. And he, landed himself indefinitely in quarantine. It's not even 10 to 14 days. It literally says indefinitely on the tweet. From, I believe it's Shams from The Athletic. And if you're the NBA, like, you're just gonna sit there and you're gonna be like, well, we had the opportunity to set a precedent with LeBron and we didn't, so we're gonna do it with Chris Paul. No. Your product, sir. Listen, I'm sorry, but I have to talk through a business standpoint right now, and I hate this, but your product is suffering right now. Correct? In a sense that you're going into a conference final with. Who's your marketable star? Devin Booker's marketable. Donovan Mitchell's in there. If the Jazz make it, right? I mean, the Clippers are still there, but the Kawhi knee thing really puts a hamper on everything. I believe he's out indefinitely. That's a big issue. So it could be a Jazz Suns Western Conference final, and it could be, I believe, a Hawks. Nets Eastern Conference final, which would be really something, because at the beginning of the year, I did not peg the Atlanta Hawks to really advance anywhere. I think that this series might go 7. We'll see though, but there's a real chance that your Eastern Conference final is going to be Atlanta Brooklyn, and that your Western Conference final is going to be Utah Phoenix. And what are you going to have, an Atlanta Phoenix final? That's great for those fan bases. It is, and I'm happy for those fan bases. I think that's phenomenal. I think that it's well deserved and it's waited long enough. And if I was part of one of those fan bases, I would be so frustrated by this point, because all you're seeing is nonstop Lakers, Knicks, not even the Knicks, but the Knicks get a lot of attention because they're still the Knicks. The Bulls in the 90s, right? I mean, the Celtics, Cleveland for a little while when LeBron was there, Miami when LeBron was there, and Miami last year too. They're always in the mix. San Antonio's in there, Los Angeles, obviously, and like just all these, Golden State, of course, very prominent, and all just these teams, and you're like this small market, and you're just waiting and waiting for your opportunity, and it's just not coming, and you don't know what to do anymore, and it's frustrating. So I'm happy for these fans, and I hope it works out for them. But at the same time, from a third party perspective, it's not star heavy. It's more team basketball, and it should be team basketball. I'm a hardcore basketball fan, so I would happily watch it because I just think it's going to be so much fun. But if you're trying to draw viewers, and this is your big moment, your championship time, and your goal is to just draw as many people as possible, you're missing your headliner, right? People don't know your Donovan Mitchells and your Devin Bookers quite yet. Like, those guys have big names, but they're not quite household yet. Like, they're almost there. But they're not your Stephen Currys or your Klay Thompsons. They're not your LeBrons or your... I mean, I guess you can make an argument for Jimmy Butler, right? Being a household name at this point, yeah. They're not your Jason Tatum. I think Jason Tatum has become much more of a household name. I mean, given what he's gone through the past few years. I would watch it. I think that, if the Nets win it, they're just going to be insufferable. They are going to be absolutely insufferable, because is it Harden who had the quote, who was like, "Oh yeah, we're bringing the league together. We're bringing people together they're rallying around us to win a title." Like, no, man, nobody wants that. Literally not one person outside of Brooklyn or bandwagon Brooklyn fans wants you to actually win a title. No. Not a one. So you could put them they could end up in the final, which is very likely, and they could be like the big bad guys, and then whoever comes out of the West could be like the underdog who's set to take them on, and everyone loves a good story like that. So there's an angle the NBA could take as well. But, all you can do is let the guys play basketball and then see how it ends up. And your matchup is your matchup, and it's up to your marketing team to figure out how to market that to the best of their ability. On that note, I do want to talk about some of these injuries for these guys, and I'm going to broaden this scope a bit. These injuries have been plentiful, right? And they've been brutal, and it's terrible. I mean, the Celtics had, Jaylen Brown sitting out, Robert Williams kept getting hurt, the Kawhi stuff, the COVID stuff, it's just, it's a lot. And LeBron tweeted today, and he was like, this is too much. I said that we shouldn't be doing this. And, he's correct. They pushed 72 games on guys in a very short amount of time, at a very high level of basketball. And, yeah, with not that much rest. And, yeah, guess what? Your body's going to give out at a certain point. And you're going to tear something, or you're going to hurt yourself, or, something's going to happen. And it's knees and ankles with NBA players. Knees and ankles, and those are tricky, and they're tough, and once you tear an ACL, it is very hard, I mean, Derrick Rose, bless him, is having a great bounce back, and I'm so happy for him. He was so fun to watch when he was in that MVP year, but it was definitely not an easy road for him. Gordon Hayward got hurt. He hasn't been the same. He was hurt for the Charlotte when they tried to get the play in. He was hurt for that. He wasn't around. They might have won if he was around. I mean, who knows, you know? There's a myriad of things going on. And it's bad for the NBA, but it also leads to this bigger issue of mental health, right? So all these guys that are playing, what's their mental health status with all this? So their bodies might be burnt out, but where are they mentally? Because if they're not in it mentally, and mentally they feel burnt out and they feel like, I just need a break, then yeah, guess what? That's gonna be very detrimental to them as well, and it's gonna be just as bad as if they're playing with like a twisted ankle or something, because it's hard to focus, it's hard to lock in, and your mental health affects your physical health, and you're tired, and if you're tired, you can't focus, and it's like a cycle. And the NBA has done a great job of, you know, bringing to mental health to the forefront with its players and making sure to let them know that it's okay to talk about it and that it's important to talk about. And that's fantastic because these guys are under a lot of pressure. We don't really see that part of it, but I mean, they've grown up their entire lives being told, you're so great, you're so great. And they're at 18, 19 years old, they're all of a sudden being paid millions of dollars. And they're probably not used to that. I mean, who is, right? And being thrust into the spotlight every night. And yeah, to a certain degree, they might be used to being under the spotlight. But as far as, you know, the responsibility of all that money, the responsibility of being responsible for those around you all of a sudden, you're like the guy all of a sudden, like, it just, there's a lot that bears down on them. You're always in the public space, you're always being ridiculed, you're always being told by Skip Bayless how much you suck, you know, on Fox. But it brings up the more important issue of mental health in general. I am a big mental health advocate. I myself have pretty high functioning anxiety, and it's been a journey to try to you know, deal with that, and to try to be the best version of myself and try to put my best foot forward every day. And it's not the easiest thing in the world. It has a lot of challenges to it, but I think that 2020 opened up a lot of eyes for everybody in that regard, right? It opened up a lot of eyes of, we're working from home, we feel burnt out, we need a break. We're maybe back in an office setting, we feel burnt out, we need a break. What's going on? It's your mental health. You have to take care of yourself. You have to take time out for yourself. I take time out for myself every night before I go to bed, and I'll read something, or I'll scroll aimlessly through, I don't know, maybe I'm on TikTok or something, but I'll do it for myself. I'll take time for me. If I'm being good that week, I'm meditating. I'm not consistent with it, but it's the biggest help in the world. The NBA for me is one of those things that helps me calm down after a rough day, or just after any day. It's that escapism, right? Like, everyone has that thing. Like, for me, it's the NBA and it's Marvel. Those are my escapism tools. They make me feel safe. They make my mental health feel like untouchable. Like, I feel good, and I'm allowed to. And the beautiful part is, those are things that I absolutely love, you know, and I can dig deep into them and create whole, like, you know, speculations about things, or like, you know, is this gonna happen? What if this happens? And that, you know, like, it becomes really fun, and then it becomes like just a fun thing that you do, and you know, I think it's not lost on anyone that sport is an escape, that movies are an escape. That's just, TV shows are an escape. It's just how it is. But I think this past year has proven even more so. And I think that we have to all start having a much more broad and open discussion about our emotions and our mental health, and, you know, where we are. If you're not having a good day, just, you know, tell someone, you know, hey, listen, I'm having a rough time. That's fine. Like, I tell my friends all the time, and they text me if something's happening, and they're like, hey, listen, I'm not feeling great, I'm having a rough day, can we talk about it? Let's talk about it. Yes, absolutely. And I text them if I'm having a rough day, and I tell them what my problems are, and yeah, I bitch sometimes, I do, but they're amazing, and they, you know, send me funny memes and make me feel better and validate my feelings, because everyone's feelings are valid. what you feel is valid. And we need to talk about that. We need to talk about the fact that, having a therapist or talking to someone is not a bad thing. It's actually a fantastic thing. Having an impartial third party just listen to you. And it is an amazing feeling, and it's the best. And it can be a lot of fun, and it really clarifies things and gives you perspective. And I think what 2020's done for a lot of, I know for my mental health, but for a lot of people too, I think, just in general, we kind of went from being like, all right, I know what I want out of my career now. I know what I want out of my life now. I'm here. I put myself on the path to do this. Let's do it. And then the pandemic hit. And in the beginning of pandemic, I was like, all right, well, I'm still like on this path, like whatever. And the deeper we got into it, the more I personally was like questioning everything. Now I'm like, is this what I actually want? Is what do I actually want? And then it became this, wait, this isn't what I actually want, or my perspective shifted completely. I think everyone's did. It became a bigger thing. It became this. That's why my interest in basketball, dwindled, because it went from, and if you know me, you know how much I absolutely adore basketball, but it went from being like, oh, well, the guys should go play, like it'll be good, blah blah blah, to being like, it doesn't matter. Like, let them be safe. This is it's bigger than us, and your perspective shifted to it being bigger than you. And I equate all of this to, back to my Marveldom for a second here, when Thanos snaps his fingers and half the universe goes away, all right, and then in Endgame, they bring them all back. And then now we're seeing in these Disney Plus shows of the, all these people trying to reacclimate into their lives in the past 5 years of, getting used to living a certain way, and now have to live a different way and readjust to things and make difficult decisions and, cut people out or let people in. And it's the same idea now, right? We're reacclimating to society. We have to decide who we're letting in and who we're cutting out. We have to relearn things. We're different versions of ourselves. It's the same exact thing at the base of it. Which I just figured this out today, really. I mean, like, I really took a deep dive into it, and I just kind of sat there, and I was like, oh, wow. Oh, shit. It's crazy, because it's just it's just a small world, and storytelling just does that. You'll find things parallel to our universe, and it turns out that, a giant purple alien snapping his fingers became something that resonates with our actual existence, which is, it's insane, but it makes a lot of sense. And how are we readjusting? And the mental health that comes with readjusting, guys, right? Because this isn't a joke. Okay, like, when I go order something on my lunch break at work, and I'm standing in like a deli, and there are all these people around me, I have to like step out. Like, I can't be around that many people in a tight space anymore. Like, my social anxiety goes absolutely through the roof. Worse than it used to. So much worse. I don't want you near me. I don't want you remotely, like, close enough to breathe near me. Like, I don't want it. Being in a grocery store without a mask feels weird, because, like, you're breathing on all the stuff. It's weird. It's gonna take time to readjust, and it's gonna be frustrating. And yeah, like, it's fun now and everything, but I don't think it's lost on anybody that in the back of our heads there's still like this, it's ingrained, this whole like, stay 6 feet apart, don't touch anything, don't touch anyone, always wash your hands, always keep clean, always have a mask on you somewhere. I don't think that's lost on anybody. I definitely think that it's been so drilled into us that that's going to take a little time to unlearn. And that's fine. I think that's even better. I mean, when I get sick in the winter, I'll probably wear one. If I get sick in the winter, I'll probably wear a mask. It kept me warm in the winter when I was walking to work. I really enjoyed it. It gets cold up here in Massachusetts, So that was a nice little bit. In the winter, it kept your face warm. But please take care of yourselves out there. This isn't a joke. This isn't a plaything. Your mental health is the single most important thing to you is your mental health. Please look out for it. Please do things that make you happy. Please associate yourself with people who are good for your mental health and validate you. And please be open with how you're feeling, because the only way we're going to make progress as a society is if we move forward with how we're thinking and how we're feeling, and if we're open and good to each other. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening to me. It's been great. On the next one, I'm going to have some first date do's and don'ts and a little more stuff on that end. But I will leave you with a Go Celtics, and the Patriots are coming up, which is going to be exciting. And, again, take care of yourselves. I love all of you. And, I'll see you next time.
Damn it, Wade!